It's about time, bro. It's about time that I finally lock in. If I ever want to make this shit work, it's time to lock in. Just lock in and do the best I can every day. Take whatever the market's giving me. Just legitimately just give my best every day. And doing this shit because I love it. And giving my best because I love it. Trading because I love it, not for the results. Because I genuinely enjoy being here and I genuinely like trading. DAX is still looking bullish, still very much bullish to just keep on continuing towards this FVG overall. At this point here, I saw that DAX respected that bearish FVG and I started switching my bias. We had buy side liquidity rate, we had 1 hour FVG getting respected, and then we had a 1 hour inverse, which makes the trade valid for me to take, to target that New York low and to potentially target that fill lower. Here when we go on the lower time frames, we see that we had already retested that inverse, and here I was looking at a potential trade forming, at a potential 3-minute gap forming and looking to target that low. Here we had something really interesting happen. We had 1 minute entry being valid, yet this 3-minute was getting closed on the gap. So it was kind of misalignment between 1 minute and 3 minute, and I usually do not take 1 minute entries, at least for my main position. But here I was kind of watching and monitoring how we behave on the 1 minute. If we respect that FVG, I'm down to market execute. Just thinking that the trade is still valid even if the 3 minute didn't provide an entry and the gap got closed, and I end up market executing right here. Here I was making a plan on where to target. We see that we had that really big void in price, so considering that we're switching bearish, that's gonna be a really easy fill to leave our runners go. Here I was watching 1 minute price action and I started noticing that price is slowing down. We see that price struggled 3 times to break lower, so at this point we definitely expect price to start retracing, where to either some internal liquidity, sweep some internal liquidity, or for break-even orders. In this case, we reach for break-even, so it's smart not to go break-even too early. Keep that in mind. At this point, we see a bit of impulse in our entry. Even though it's scary, we have a really important confluence that really determines what we're gonna do next, that 1 minute gap. If this 1 minute gap gets respected and it holds higher, we're doomed, we're screwed, our trade is over and it's most likely time to close. But if it starts getting inversed, it's time to scale in because we're getting more confluence that our trade is holding. So here we were starting to inverse. Keep in mind that price was a bit struggling, so you don't ever wanna enter before price closes below that inverse. You wanna see the candle close below it. That's what I did here. I was preparing the limit order. If price closes below the inverse, then we have the confluence necessary for us to place the scale in. At this point, I did place the entry, but I realized that it's very likely for us not to get tapped. As soon as I saw that bearish gap print, this is a pattern in price where that bullish inverse ends up just acting as a breakaway and we end up tapping that bearish FVG, and that's what I was getting ready for here. I was getting ready for moving my entry on that second gap. Because also RR allowed it, we were still in a place worthy to place the trade there. The same thing we watch in our entry when we wanted to see that gap inverse is the same thing I was watching here. If we inverse that gap, it pretty much means our TP is gonna get hit, since TP was pretty much close. If it gets respected, it's a high chance we reach either back into break even or either into our stop loss, so it's time to manage the trade. First TP got reached here, and my partial system says if I see a bearish gap, I can keep holding towards the next objective. If that bearish gap gets inversed, I need to trim, and that's exactly what I ended up doing. That partial ended up being a mistake because the inversion wasn't complete. We see one candle close above here, but this is not a complete close. What determines a complete close is the next candle, so in this case we should have waited for that second candle to close like this, then trim. So I did close early, I did trim early. I secured a 500 here, and if I would have been patient for another 5 more minutes, I would have secured 550, by that making a difference of 0.5. So this mistake ended up costing me a lot because I ended up trimming a lot of my potential profit for the position. But you live and learn, right? So what I want you to take away from this is wait for that second candle to close to confirm the inversion. Don't close on one candle, close on the second candle that closes above, especially in a case like this where the first candle isn't, it's kind of in the middle, didn't really fully close above, it's in a weird state. Wait for that second candle because it ends up making the difference between a 500 and a 750 partial. To backtrack a bit, remember how we scaled in on this position? We were very patient and waiting for that complete closure below the FVG. This is the same, we gotta trade that partial, we need to wait for the complete close. A few minutes later, TP2 got reached, and here I trimmed my scaling. We ended up heavy melting, because if we come higher, we're probably gonna retrace towards this, and I don't really want to be in a retrace, I just want to be done for the day. But yeah, I'm gonna close. Yep, that was a mistake. I closed too early out of mental comfort just to not be stuck in the trade anymore, which sometimes is fine, yes, but it's not maximizing profit because look what price did. Price did end up coming to these Asian lows, which should have been our final target, these Asian lows right here, and overall filling this gap. So our target that we set from our analysis, ended up getting reached. So we should have just been confident in letting the trade run. Again, another mistake. It's not a big mistake, it would have been made another 0.5, but in terms of R, it would have been a 4.4 R, it would have been a 4 R instead of a 3 R. So that in terms of R does make a huge difference. So these small mistakes, even though they're made out of mental comfort, yeah, it gives you peace to not be in the trading. If you are confident in drawing lower, just let the trade run, right? Let the trade run. Out of what? Out of mental comfort? It's just nonsense, because out of mental comfort I made a 3R instead of making a 4R on both my trades. So yeah, another mistake here. The trim was stupid, and the fact that I closed out of mental comfort. Yeah, the trade was great, I just had these small mistakes that I do want to fix. The entries were absolutely crazy. Here, boom, two times getting retested, sniper entries, almost zero drawdown. Second, same with our scaling here, boom boom, ended up fucking melting, just straight out melting. Yeah, and we closed a bit early here. This would have made such a big difference, bro. This would have made such a big difference if I wouldn't have closed early here on this candle, on the first objective, getting mad here. But it happens, right? Sometimes it is what it is. Sometimes you close early, sometimes you don't. I mean, wait, I closed here, my bad. So I closed here early, and yeah, ended up making a difference. Yeah, some small trade management mistakes, but at the end of the day, it's still fine. We still managed to have an absolutely W day. We made like 2% because of the stupid trim. We should have made at least 2.5 in this if I would have had optimal trim. If I would have optimal TP here, I would have probably made at least 3%. I would say at least 3% with my scalings and with my with trims, at least 3%. Overall a W day. There's one thing I want to ask you guys. Do you enjoy this commentary, me voicing over the video like I'm doing right now? See, these are voiceovers. Or do you guys like just live trading? Do just raw thoughts that I have when I'm trading live, right? I want you guys to give your opinion down below in the comments. If you're watching this video, I love you, you're the best. Thank you for watching these videos, and I hope you enjoy and you find some value. But please let me know if you guys love the voiceovers more, or you guys just love the raw thoughts that I have during the trade and how I think during the trade. I feel like I tend to be a bit more of a voiceovers. I don't know, I just feel like it's a bit nicer. But please let me know down in the comments. And one thing I want to tell you is make sure you keep an eye on this channel. Make sure you keep an eye on this channel, because things are gonna get really crazy for me. Just keep an eye, because it's gonna get really crazy. And thank you for being here. I love you. I love every single one of you, and thank you for being here. Stay hard, stay motivated, and never stop growing.